that. Like if I reflect on certain times in my life of me being a little bit scared, like I just had to go and do the thing. And then I realized, oh, actually not that many people cared.
Yeah.
Or if they did, they're not really meant to be in my life anyway. You know what I mean? Like they might say something, they might watch you as
Yeah.
well, like from the sidelines,
Yep.
but you also realize you think everybody's thinking about you, but they're not. They're
No.
actually
They
not.
think about their own stuff.
Everybody's so focused on like their own, what they're doing and whatnot.
Welcome to the Relationship Psychologist podcast.
Tune in every Thursday to learn with us as we interview experts
And laugh with us as we banter about friendship.
and take action by implementing the tools and advice we provide to you each week to level up your personal relationships.
I'm Dana Mullen.
And I'm Alicia Hinger.
We are soul sisters, besties, and psychologists on a mission to change the culture of relationships.
Your journey to becoming more supported and connected starts
Right now.
Okay, Brittany, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you here today. This is a different kind of a take on what we do. Usually we talk about relationships with, partners and couples and kids, but I think this is a topic that's overlooked and important as well. Relationships in business. And specifically what you kind of bring to the table is kind of a newer, air quote that, way of doing business. So you've been in the online network marketing kind of entrepreneur business space since you were young, like 19 years old. Gosh, at 19, I was still just figuring out what the heck I want to do with my life. So well done. So yeah, my son's 19. I can tell you that right now. And he has no idea. So obviously you are a driven individual by nature, which is why I think I want to dig into your brain a little bit about how you've supported, I'm going to guess many people, like I've been following your page for a while, and many individuals to kind of follow in your footprints and to grow their own businesses and in that space, grow their confidence and, communication skills and negotiation skills and sales skills and all those skills that most of us didn't learn and, feel yucky about sometimes. Like I'm not a very good salesman personally. So yeah, so I'm excited to have you here to talk about that stuff. And then hopefully we can give our audience some good takeaway tools on if thinking about business or, or struggling in business, how to grow, how to get mentorship. Like I think those are all really important things that you offer and bring to the table. So yeah, thanks for being here. So do you want to take us back to kind of how you, at 19 years old, at this like young age of 19, decided you wanted to get into business and had that epiphany maybe, or how that started for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I am so excited to just be chatting with you. Since like we have been talking, honestly, you are just like speaking to you, you're just like a bright light. You have so much energy. I feel like you have just an amazing mindset and you look stunning as always. I love your hair. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So
I'm embracing the gray. I'm embracing the gray. That's my kind of goal this last year.
It's beautiful, honestly. I feel like that's definitely in. So yeah, you're killing it. So yeah, my name is Brittany Holt, and I have been in the online space for the last 6 years. I started at the age of 19. And yeah, I'll take you back to when I was 19. So actually I had just graduated high school. It was in 2017, and I was horrible at school. Like I was so bad. I don't even know how I got my diploma. If I'm being honest with you, I was in like the lowest math classes, like just barely getting by. I basically just did the classes that I had to do in order to pass. So yeah, it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't understand the practicality behind a lot of the subjects. So when I had graduated, I decided that I did not want to go to school. I actually went on a grad trip to Cuba, and that was the first time that I'd ever traveled in my life. We didn't really do that growing up. I come from divorced parents. I had an amazing childhood. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom and I love my dad, but we didn't do that. Like a lot of my friends, they would be traveling to Disneyland and going to other places, and we just didn't do that growing up. And so when I got my first sense of travel, I was hooked. I was like, this world is so big and it's my oyster. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to travel. So I decided to pick up a waitressing job. I'm from a little town in southern Alberta. And so, yeah, I picked up this waitressing job, and my thought process was I was just going to go away. I was going to gain some tips to go away, travel, come home, rinse and repeat that process. But it was that December in 2017 that I actually got approached on Instagram by a random woman all the way from England. I had no idea who she was, but she asked if I wanted to hop on a call to check out a business venture. And I was like, I have no idea who you are, but sure, let's do it. Like if it's a scam, I'll just log off. I'm a super open-minded person, but I'm so glad that I hopped onto that call because she showed me a business opportunity that I saw would give me more time than I had at that moment at 19. I realized in my waitressing job, I was constantly exchanging my time for money. And ultimately, I actually wasn't even traveling, which is what I wanted to do. So I saw it as something that was just originally going to allow me to travel more. But once I started diving deeper into it, I realized that I could actually make a living and a lifestyle off of the back of it. So within 8 months of partnering, I was able to leave my waitressing job and I transitioned into doing network marketing full time. I've been doing it full time ever since. I'm just about to be 25 next month. And yeah, I'm super grateful for it. It's taken me around the world. I lived in Europe for a good year doing it. So it allowed me to pursue my passion of that, but ultimately it allowed me to unlock my true passion, which is connecting with other people, helping, other people get closer to the lifestyle and the dreams that they want, no matter how big or how small they are. And yeah, I like to believe that I'm in the business of changing lives. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story.
Excellent. So I just didn't even hearing the first part of your story. I'm wondering if that's one of your things you teach your people that you're working with is like, take that chance. Cause I think that's what people get stuck, where we get stuck in like these boxes of like the shoulds. I need to go to school. I need to do the thing. I need to follow the picket white road or the yellow brick road. I need to do the things. And so taking a chance to like think outside the box, which, you did at a very young age. And like I said, you can always change your mind. If there's a scam, hang up the phone call, it's no big deal, but take a chance to try something new. So how do you convince someone that's listening, that's brand new, that's considering taking a chance in any part of their life, whether it be business, career, relationship, travel, like you said, what's kind of your go-to? How do you kind of navigate somebody with those fears?
I think with fear, it's always going to be there. I think no matter how long you've been in whatever industry you're in or whatever it is that you're doing, the fear is always going to be there. But when you do the thing that you're afraid to do, you take away the power that fear has over you. And again, it's not like it's not going to always be there. You've just taken away its power. And you're like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit scared to do this, but I'm just going to take that jump. I'm the type of person that like, I'm just willing to try anything. Like I'm super outgoing and I'll just try it. If it doesn't work out, it's like, whoops, like whatever. But not everybody's like that. I know that a lot of people are super concerned about outside opinions, and sometimes I don't think that it's actually like that we are afraid of failure ourselves. It's what we think other people will think of us if we fail. And like the truth of the matter is, and I think maybe as you get a little bit older, but I don't know, you realize that like nobody's living this life for you. You don't need to be pleasing Sally, your neighbor. You know what I mean? Like you need to be doing this life for you. And I think it's like the best way for you to encourage somebody to do something is to just lead by example. And I think that that's what's been so helpful and so powerful within my career is that like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm just going to go out and do it. It might like the timeline, I can't have any like, I don't know when exactly those exact things will happen, but all I can control is the efforts and actions in pursuit of whatever I'm going after. And so it's, those daily actions or whatever it is that you're doing, the mundane tasks day in, day out that I think inspires people along your journey. And I think when you share your story as well and the things that you've been through, people can like find resonance in that. And, it can kind of spark a fire inside of them to get going and whatnot. So like for me, I love to get to know people because obviously if they're interested in starting something like this, it's for a reason. Yeah. So if you can kind of fact find and figure out what their main driving force is and what their why is, and kind of help pull that out of them a little bit more and like bring that, like shine your light onto them. Sometimes this just allows them to kind of open up and helps them along their journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I preach in my office for all kinds of topics. If we can identify our why, we can navigate all the hows. The hows are not that hard. We're pretty brilliant species to figure out how to get there if we can figure out the why, the direction that we want to head in. And then you spoke to this idea too of like, which I'm hearing like integrity actually, of like knowing your why and having a sense of like what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what my values are. So being aligned with like my values that are important to me, my own integrity lands on my values, and then not bending values or not, it's the kind of the hard truth that's like Brene Brown talks about this of like being in your arena. And I give value to those that are in the arena with me that are, trudging through blood, sweat, and tears with me on the ground floor. I value your opinion, but if you're out there, way far in the back of the arena, throwing tomatoes at me or giving me your, opinions, sorry, I don't value your opinion. So getting in that space of like, we know what we value, having integrity for that, and then align yourself with people in that space that align with, your space, your values, your integrity. And then I'll look at you for opinions. I'll look at you for feedback, but I'm not going to look at Sally down the road, like you said, or my neighbor, whoever, because maybe peering through some judgy eyes who's never tried or taken a risk like that. Exactly. Send them love, but I'm going to stand by my goals, my whys.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we know our whys, like I think we can bounce through lots of the house. There's always going to be hurdles. And I like what you said too about leading by example. So if people can see have a why in this direction, and there's going to be some hurdles in the way or some things that are going to come up in the way. Life's going to throw curveballs, but I still focus on that where I'm going. I might just have to take, a different route to get there, but I'm still focused on that direction. Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Like if you know where you're going, then like the path should be clear as to the action steps that you need to be taking and the people that you need to surround yourself with. And if you are in like an environment or surrounded by people that are bringing you down, you really got to think about that. You're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? And I know it's not always easy, if it's close friends and family, but it's about those boundaries, I guess, that you can, I personally just take like a mental note if somebody like closer to me were to like try and talk down on what I'm doing or try and steer me in a different way. And I don't, like, it doesn't come from a sense of anger. I'm just like, okay, noted. You know what I mean? And you just move forward. That's just what it is. Because if you allow them to, take over your thought process, basically they're going to take over your life and you're never going to get closer to what truly matters to you.
Yeah. What matters to them, you become their Pinocchio. And so they're then you become their puppet in some ways. Mm-hmm. So talk about that phone call or maybe in general, how have you learned and embraced this idea of empower, because it's an empowering story that you're telling. And so then this phone call that you got from this person in Europe originally probably set something off, a little bit of a fire in your system, it sounds like. And then how you've kind of put that fire in others, like how important that sense and that camaraderie is and that support and collaboration with other individuals who are then because I think there's in business, and I even know in my business, like in the psychology business, it's never been my goal to compete with my colleagues ever. I'm a collaborative human being, but it's in business in general. I think that it's kind of a mindset of competing with each other where I'm like, no, let's collaborate. Let's have each other's backs. How can I support you? So just talk about that, how important and how valuable that's been in building your business and other business, this idea of collaboration and surrounding yourself with people that want literally, honestly, authentically the best for you. And I do that for you. Look at me, like it's a shared system.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. This is huge. And I think it's definitely one of the main driving forces as to why I was able to accelerate so fast within my business. Because when I first started, I actually, a couple months later, I flew from Calgary to England by myself when I was 19. My parents were probably like, freaking out. But again, I just do what I want to do. When I have my mindset, I'm like, yep, I'm going. Wow. So yeah, I attended an event, my company's event, and that's where I heard lots of the top leaders speaking on stage and whatnot. And the stories are so inspiring because, again, just like I was saying earlier, it doesn't matter like what story you hear, you're able to create you can relate to it a little bit, right? And stories are shareable as well. And so like any of the leaders that I saw on stage, I just was thinking, if she can, so can I. Like if he can, so can I. Like if they can do it, you hear a lot of rags to riches stories, you know what I mean? And it's like you hear people coming from absolutely nothing and creating such a profound life for themselves off of the back of, what our company does for us and the community inside of it. And so, yeah, you just get inspired by these types of people, and it's never like a dog eat dog world within our industry. Like it's always just how can we support one another and how can we help one another get closer to whatever it is that we're looking for, whether it be, more time freedom, whether it be $2,000, whether it be, I have some people that come that just want to earn an extra $100 to get their lashes done. And it's like, awesome, let's do it, and it's just so special to be a part of a community that wants to see you win. And oftentimes you hear in entrepreneurship that it's really lonely, but to be honest with you, I've actually never felt lonely inside of my entrepreneur entrepreneurial journey because I've always been surrounded by such an amazing community. Like those people have my back. I know if I were to call them right now and ask them for anything, they would drop what they're doing. They would figure out how to help me. And it's just so special. And a lot of the people that come into this, even from other, different network marketing companies or different entrepreneurial endeavors, they hands down say that they cannot find any type of community like the one that we have got. So it's just so important because, it just, again, it brings that belief out of you and you just feel more motivated to go after what it is that you want and to help one another. I totally believe in kindness and just spreading that around wherever you go. So I think that if we can be that beacon of light for people, then they can also shine their light and on other people. And it's that butterfly effect, you know what I mean? And you can just create massive impact. I always want to leave people better than I found them, whether they stick in the business for a couple months or they're with me for however long, that's just the way that I view it. So it's very important for sure.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's not just about, like you said, just like this here in our business. I want them to be better off in general. So it's a teaching and it's a, ripple effect of like, let this grow you here in this, maybe this business sense, but let this grow you in your life. Let me teach you. So what are some of the skills that you think that you bring and that maybe your mentors have brought to you that are some kind of the key skills for growing business and for growing that collaboration and for growing those relationships with each other, I think in business and then also with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think one of my strengths and one of my skills is my public speaking, but it wasn't always like that. Like, even like I was saying, that fear never really goes away, even hopping onto this, and I've been doing this for 6 years and whatnot. You get those little butterflies and it just never goes away. But I was actually listening to a podcast the other day. I think her name was Jen Gottlieb, and she was talking about fear. And she was like, whenever you're feeling like that fear is coming up, put it in the passenger seat and just go for a drive with it and say, fear, I'm taking the wheel. I'm driving this car. You're going to sit there. I choose the pace. I choose the momentum. So you sit, you listen, and just talk to it, So, I like when I started, like doing videos and public speaking on stage and whatnot, I was terrified. I wasn't really good at it, but it's definitely like skills can be obtained. Right. And so I learned a lot from my mentor. She is like an amazing public speaker, but she once wasn't. But I believe that success leaves clues. So if you can just watch who you're inspired by and see the way that they act and what they do and how they hold themselves, their posture, you can pick up on a lot of things and learn a lot of things from them. So yeah, I think that the public speaking communication side of things, trying to think of what the words are not coming to my brain right now.
Well, that's just even just that piece. Like, I just think just even that we overlook how important communication is and being a skilled communicator, and that it is a skill.
Yeah.
You said you can learn and pay attention and watching like your mentors. You're right. Leaders and, success leaves clues, it leaves breadcrumbs for us to follow. So why reinvent the wheel that's already there? And this idea that's also really important. Like you talked about this idea of fear, riding shotgun with you, right? Courage isn't having no fear. Courage is, I'm well aware that I'm afraid. I'm well aware that I'm nervous, but I'm doing it anyways. That's what courage is. Like literally courage is, I'm going to do this anyways. And I'm not telling fear doesn't exist. I'm not going to minimize it or ignore it or put it in a box. I'm going to say, hey, fear, come with me. But also, hey, courage, and hey, love, and hey, passion, and hey, all the reasons I'm doing this, like empowering yourself for all the reasons why I want to do this, having that why clear. I'm going to do this anyways. And so I think, like, I don't know anybody that really, maybe some people love public speaking, but it's one of the, we know it's one of the greatest fears that people bring to the table in the, human capacity for sure.
It is.
It is for sure. But then learning people like your mentor about how to do it, how to stand tall, how to even do some like Amy Cuddy, power posing in some ways to get your body in that space first. And then I know for me, because I do podcasts, but one of the biggest complaints is I talk too fast. So I'm trying to like be mindful and slow it down. When I get excited, I'm so passionate. Like,
no,
I do the same. Yes. It's just part of owning who we are and owning our flaws and owning this is our true, vulnerable, messy selves and doing our best. But this thing I'm teaching you about is so real and so meaningful to me. I'm going to get busy, or I'm going to get passionate, or I'm going to forget my lines on stage or whatever it is I'm doing. And not, I think part of that is being vulnerable to be imperfect.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And like we're all different. We all have different personalities, the different ways that we do things and the different strengths that we bring to the table. And I think that that's something that's so prominent within my industry as well, is because like I mentor a wide variety of people and all different types of personalities. And, there are girls that I mentor that are way better at certain things than I am. You know what I mean? but we can all kind of, it's that yin and yang. It's like we all balance each other out. Like some are really great face to face, some are amazing at social media, some are incredible at doing sales a certain way. We all communicate differently, but it all just works at the same time. You know what I mean? So
well, having that collaborative process. So then you take your people, okay, you're good at social media, you're good at marketing, you're good at face to face, you're good at public speaking, you're good at the sales pitch, you're good at whatever,
exactly.
right? I'm good. So, and then bringing them together as a collective mindset to be like, okay, how can we learn from each other? And when I get stuck here, let me support you, and how do you support me? And so having that collaborative shared process of we're not by ourselves. I think that's, so for me, one of the biggest things I hear in my office, with individuals who are working, trying to balance family and kids and, activities and life and health and, our own self-care, God forbid we make space for that kind of stuff, is I don't know how to balance it all. And I'm like, you're not supposed to. I don't know where we got this idea that we are individuals by ourselves, because you're not supposed to. We are a collective. We are a herd species. Like I have horses, like I can look out the window and see my horses out there. They're a herd for a reason, right? My dogs are laying on the floor beside me right here. We're in herds, and so rely on each other. Like find the herd that supports your growth. And and animals are pretty honest. Like I brought a horse home recently who I loved. He was amazing. And my herd was like, nope. And I tried everything to like integrate him properly and do all the things, and, try for a few months to get him to integrate into my herd, because I really wanted to keep this horse. And the herd that was like, doesn't fit. And they gave me all the signs. Yeah. And one of my horses was losing weight, and I had to be like, oh, okay, I hear you guys. He doesn't fit. Yeah. He's a different personality. He doesn't fit the genre that we're going on here in this little herd. And so I had him send him back to the other acreage that he came from. And I was sad that I'm paying attention to that. And so that's the boundary piece, is knowing that we can have boundaries, like who fits our herd, for who aligns with our values, our integrity, and those that don't, that's okay. Like I still love that horse and wish him well, but I listened to my horses, and I was like, okay, we got to move that one onwards. And so having that space to be like, who aligns with your space? Because I think often, I don't want to gender role us, but in business for sure, but those people that like maybe females or people that grew up in a, more pleasing or like wanting to please kind of, family of origin, where you're like, yes, no, I'll just kind of fit into the box again. We'll have people into their bubble or into their herd that actually aren't growing them, that actually aren't encouraging, that actually are like squishing them into a box that doesn't really fit. And that's a hard boundary, but boundaries are meant to be loving. I love my integrity. I love my values. I love what I stand for. And I love you as well, but we aren't aligned. And that's okay. I wish you well. And then and then doing the same in business. We do it in our personal relationships, hard, but in business, the same thing, and having those hard conversations. I'm reading that book right now, The Courage to Be Disliked. It's like, everyone needs to read that book in business, in life, actually, The Courage to Be Disliked. It's a good book. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. That sounds really good.
It's a good book, and it reminds you of, if I could just have the courage of what would I do if I had the courage? And I think it comes with age a little bit too, but I'm trying to raise teenagers that have that integrity in their bodies of, love everyone, be kind, be compassionate, but not everyone's going to like you. And it's really okay. You don't need them to.
Honestly, and that's so true, right? Like but I do think it just takes you putting yourself out there for you to really realize that. Like if I reflect on certain times in my life of me being a little bit scared, like I just had to go and do the thing. And then I realized, oh, actually not that many people cared. Yeah. Or if they did, they're not really meant to be in my life anyway. You know what I mean? Like they might say something, they might watch you as well, like from the sidelines, but you also realize you think everybody's thinking about you, but they're not. They're actually not. Everybody's so focused on like their own, what they're doing and whatnot. But just kind of to circle back to what you were saying about like the herds and the horses, I absolutely love that. And it's so true. We can learn so much from animals, but like we always talk about just loving people where they're at, because sometimes you can want something so bad for somebody else more than they actually want it for themselves. And that can be a really frustrating thing, especially in a mentorship position, because it's like oftentimes mentors, they see more in you than you see in yourself. Right. And they bring that out of you. And so sometimes it can be hard when you're working alongside somebody, or even if it's a friend or a family member that might be going through something, and you just like, like you can do this. Like, like I can see this in you. Like, I believe in you. Like, why don't you believe in yourself? You know what I mean? But we all have our own journeys on our own timeline, and we all have to go through different experiences to realize those things and learn those things at different times. So we just always talk about loving people where they're at, because if you force somebody to do something that they don't want to do, this can just have the reverse effect and push them away. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's two things I hear in that you're offering. So one is, love them where they're at. So the door is open. So here's what we stand for in this company or in this group or in this collaboration support system. And if the door's open, when you're ready to align with us, we see it in you and you're welcome to join us here. And I wish you the best. And if you're not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So loving them where they're at, giving that space to be in their own journey and not, it's empowering to release sometimes too. It's empowering for them and for you to release and say, it's okay. Take your time, go do your thing. When you're ready, come. If not, I still wish you well. I wish you love in the world. Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
There's our space, but allowing you to have yours at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Respecting both sides. So I love the way that you put it, because that's literally what it is. And that can create an even deeper connection with, that person, because they might have something like a thought process going in their head, like, oh, if I say this to her, she might be really upset with me. Like if I don't want to get going right now, or if I can't attend this, like, they can be really upset. But once you kind of are open and have that communication, I think both sides definitely benefit for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's relationship, right? It's all really all boils down to relationship. It's it's a paying attention. And if we just like lean back into, we are all in relationship with one another to some degree. We just all are. And so if I can lean back and go, how can I serve this relationship and be in integrity in my own values, but how can I serve the relationship? And some relationship needs to go in two different boats for a while. And that's really okay. Yeah. It's really okay. I don't need to have everybody in my ship. That's a crowded ship.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So that's why, like I said, like it's so important to just always lead with kindness and leaving people better than you found them, because, you might impact somebody's life. And then 4 years down the line, they circle back and they come to you and say, hey, thank you for this. Or like, I thought of you because of this, or I'm ready to get started now because of the kindness that you showed me 4 years ago, like, or whatever the situation may be. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. People remember how you made them feel, and you never know the impact you have on someone's life.
Exactly.
I think I've been shocked most of my life, the most times when I've had clients or people that I've like barely even had interactions with, and they circle back years later and I'm like, wow, really? I know. Yeah. I think I have the profound effects of my clients. We dive in deep into all this deep work. And then I imagine those are really profound, but it's not those ones that come back. It's have a little interaction. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea that impacted you that well. Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that little thing, but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right. And so
totally.
Yeah.
So true. So building respect, relationship, collaboration with an under grace of just the foundations of a relationship, a tuned in relationship for sure. Amazing. Okay. Let's shift gears, because this is on my mind. And this is my like default, my like lack of skill set. So you come from a different generation, like my age of my kids, some generation of like, you guys know what social media is and you guys know how to post those things. And like trying to take a selfie is like, I took one yesterday to pretend to my sister and I'm like, oh my God, look at my wrinkly neck. I don't know how to take those things. So walk us through, for people that are listening that are maybe, older than you, they're like, how do I market? How do I utilize social media? How do I market in general? First of all, like what, because I think back in the day when I don't market, I didn't market. I didn't really had to. So my marketing was literally going to doctor's offices, shaking hands, say, hey, I'm Alicia, I'm a psychologist in town. Here's what I do. That was it. That was my marketing strategy. So face to face, shaking people's hands. And now it's not that. Now it's, or maybe it was the odd, I didn't do commercials, but maybe it was a television commercial or a radio commercial or a newspaper ad or something back in the day. It's not that anymore. So walk us through, like, if you were to walk a new person in your business through marketing, what are kind of your strategies and go-tos? And then we'll dive into kind of the social marketing scares.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the way that I view it is that people will buy from you, or they will want to be mentored by you, or whatever service you're providing, whatever it is that you're trying to do, even if you're just wanting to grow on social media, they're going to do that because of you, not because of the product or the service that you are selling. They're going to buy into you as a person. And maybe it's the quirks that you have. Maybe it's the way that you view life. Maybe it's your likes and your interests. Like I'm always thinking, know me, like me, trust me, buy. How can I get people to know me? So this is by me flipping the camera, showing my face, never hiding behind filters, being raw, being vulnerable. Like I'm in the beauty space. And there was a period in my life where my skin broke out so bad. I had cystic acne all over my entire face at the age of 21, 22. And I had never experienced acne before in my entire life. And that hit me hard. Like anybody who goes through acne or any sort of, skin issue or whatever it may be, like it can really put a damper on your self-confidence. So that was a hard time for me because again, I'm in the beauty space. I have skincare products and whatnot. But I had to be vulnerable and flip the camera and show myself, being upset and talking about it and working through it. But so I got people to know me by certain things like that, just really filling them in on what's going on in my life. Obviously, share however much you want. You don't have to fill them in on absolutely every little itty bitty thing. But by doing that, I really got people to like and trust me because it's a common thing that a lot of people go through. And they can trust me because they see I'm a real person. I'm doing real things. I'm being real. I'm being vulnerable. And again, I'm sharing my story. So it's really relatable. So they can probably relate to it. And it just sparked so many conversations. That's just like a small example of different ways that I've been able to market myself and whatnot. But again, I just think it comes down to you as a person. Your personal brand is something that's so powerful because again, people, they want to get to know you and they want to know why you can help them and how you can help them. So by just showing up as yourself, don't try. I hate the term fake it till you make it. Like, I just hate that term. It just gives me the ick. Like, if you feel like what you're doing is inauthentic, steer away from it. Do not feel like you have to be like every other influencer or just because somebody in your space is doing something, meaning that you have to go away and do it, because chances are there's a lot of people in your space doing things. So how are you going to stand out? Why should I come to you? Why should I listen to you? What are you going to be doing that's different, compared to everybody else? So it's really just about like looking inward and thinking about what you want to be promoting and how, the way that you want to carry yourself. Like how I am online is the exact same way that you're going to see me offline. And I think that really speaks truth as well, because with that fake it till you make it type thing, if you're some way on social media then a completely different way in person, like that's going to create disconnect and distrust and whatnot. So rather than fake it till you make it, be it until you become it. That's the way that I view it. So think about the person that you want to be and envision that and just go and talk about it, portray it. Like, you don't have to do like these crazy reels. As long as you have the message and you're able to get that out to people, like the right people will always find you. Like always. So
there's a pressure, like again, because I don't know that world of like what the heck is a reel, trying to create, or what's my, I think I did my first live video with my horses like last summer. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this live about this thing I'm running. And, so, but I like that idea of like, cause my head's like, well, I don't know how to do filters. I don't know how to make that look pretty. I don't know how to make those words go across the page like everybody else says, and take the pressure off and be like, who cares? If you're real and authentic and, what you're sharing matters to you because it's real for you, you don't need to align with the whole audience. You don't need 1 million followers. You don't need whatever. The followers are going to follow you because they align with your message. They align with you because they have a skin issue and they're going to align with your skin, or they align with me because they have a relationship issue. And so align, and they're going to follow what aligns with them and their concerns.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know people who have 2,000 followers and are making 6 figures more a month. So it's not about the follower count. It's not about the like account. Like those are they're just numbers. You know what I mean? Yes, engagement does help to an extent, like for sure. Obviously, if you've got a little bit of higher engagement, that means that more people are watching your content and whatnot. But like, again, like reels, don't get me wrong, they are super helpful. Like you can reach like a super wider audience with them for sure. And there's different apps that you can use that can help you like create the reels and whatnot. But like some people spend so much time content making when it's like, is that actually what's producing your income? Like, is that what's helping you in your IPAs and whatnot? So yeah, it's important, but like, I just think again, it all circles back to relationships and communication. It's like, you have to go away and be the one, talking to these people or messaging them and getting face to face with them, asking them to go for coffee or whatever it may be, depending on the industry that you're in. I'm obviously just speaking what I know. Cause that's like, people love to feel cared for and they love to, I don't know, everybody loves to talk about themselves, that's like everybody's favorite topic, we're all a little bit greedy in that way. So even like just going on your stories and asking for people's opinions on certain things, you'll be shocked at how many people will spark up and say their opinion that you didn't even know was watching you. So from a business standpoint, that's when you can take a mental note and be like, okay, this person's watching my stuff, this person's watching my stuff, so that you can go away and start interacting with their stuff and create, more of that relationship with them. It's the know me, like me, trust me, buy,
Sure. For sure. Okay, so is that kind of some of your favorite ways to interact? So if you have a message you want to sell, you have I have the cure to acne, because if I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh god, I send my daughter to listen to you because she's breaking out with some of that stuff right now, teenager. So if you have a message you want to sell, whatever that is, or something that's really important that you want to share with people, is that kind of your favorite go-tos? Is like then asking questions and doing like messaging back and forth, or face-to-face if possible? Are those kind of your go-tos for trying to share the message as best you can? Or what
Yeah,
other
there's
ways?
a couple. Yeah, there's a couple ways that I would go about it. So again, like definitely just getting on my stories or going live or making basically like where my strength is, again, circling back to the strengths, speaking. I know that with my audience, the best way that I can get their attention is if I'm talking to the camera, and if they can hear my voice, if they can see me actually using the products. Like being a product of the product is something that's very important, because again, people can pick up on if you're being fake, if you're not actually using what you say you're using and whatnot. So yeah, that definitely just going and sharing like different testimonials that I've gotten from my clientele base, or talking about like my own personal stories, what I'm currently going through with it. We do have within our company a free skincare consultation. It scans your face. It uses like the best face scanning technology. It's incredible. So I'll actually go to people's houses and have them download this app and do the face scan and bring all my products and do a product demonstration right there, so that they can actually like try the product. Because I know that a lot of the times people are super hesitant. They want to try before they buy. And I totally get it. Like I'm the exact same way. So if I can provide that service for them, that makes me happy. Even if they don't decide to buy right then and there, that's cool. No worries. At least I've gone and actually done that so that they can, touch it, whatever, use it. So yeah, I would say that those two, and then also just talking to people, following up with my clientele base and whatnot. If somebody new is following me and we start sparking that conversations, it's just about fact finding, asking them questions. Nobody likes to be sold to, but everybody likes to buy, right? So it's like I don't go into a conversation thinking it's going to be transactional. I want it to be intentional. I don't want them to ever feel like I am just trying to make a quick buck off them. And it sucks that there's a lot of people out there that treat people like that. So I think that that's why sometimes, my industry gets a bad taint on it and whatnot. But I think that as long as you're just leading with integrity and you're intentional about what you're doing, then, you're going to be able to accomplish what you set out to.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I think MLM marketing does have a bad rap sometimes, and I don't even know all the reasons why, but my biased opinion really is like, I got a couple of good friends that sell different products, and because I know them, trust them already, and I know the integrity they have in whatever they do. Like my friend Ange, for example, like she's a biochemist, like she researches everything. So if she's taking a vitamin, I'm going to trust her, right?
You're going to trust her.
Exactly, because I know what she does. And so I think, personally, I'm like, I'd rather give my friend rather buy her, the vitamins off of her than go to Walmart or go to Safeway and support people who I don't know. Nothing wrong with those stores, but I'd rather support my friend. And, she's got kids. I'm trying to support that stuff. So I'd rather, so if you're, I think the MLM marketing companies got some bad reps, but if we really lean back and go, well, who would you rather support? Who would you rather have a relationship with? The staff that you've never met, that you're never going to meet again, or this person that's your neighbor that lives in your community, that can literally come to your house and support you and serve you and help with your skincare or your vitamins or your protein shakes or whatever it is that they're, whether it be even like clothing. Like I buy my my Lululemon stuff. It's a different company, but I buy it off of a girl in town because I know her, trust her, like her. And if it doesn't fit, I'll send it back to her house and she'll figure it out for me. So
yeah, exactly. No, like, trust, buy. That's what it is. No, like, trust, buy, so I totally agree with you, and I'm the same way. And so like, I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't do that, but I like to see the glass half full always. And it's like, well, if they don't, there's like 20 other people that will, so it's just, sometimes you'll get more support from random strangers on the internet than you will like your close friends and family. That's definitely what I experienced within my own journey. And sometimes that's just how it is. Or, you might have a super supportive network and all your friends and family want to support you, which is awesome, but you don't necessarily know until like you actually get going with it. And yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I suppose it depends on the product you're selling too. If you have a
product, exactly. Yeah.
In the farming industry and you got horse feed, I'm interested, right? It depends on what you're selling that your friends and family, need and want and desire. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Having product that actually serves their need, not just wasteful stuff. Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. So what about like next step? So let's say you join a company, you have this collaborative team. How do you help people like continue their progress? And because I don't know if you find this, but people get into a rut where I've did this thing, now I'm in it, and I've kind of started this thing, but now I'm getting complacent, or now I'm falling back into old patterns, or now how do you keep people, and I hate that word motivation because I don't think that's a thing too. I think it's like, you just like Nike, just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what's your kind of, entrepreneur advice for the people that you're serving, mentoring, that kind of fall into that place? Or they've done really good because they were so gung-ho, and now they've served other people that they can think of to serve. And now they've kind of maxed out their small circle. And now they're starting to feel scared of like, oh, did I make a mistake? I quit my full-time job for this or whatever. Now what do I do?
Yeah, I think as an entrepreneur, you always got to expect the unexpected. You really do. You got to pivot, you got to shift. And not everybody is built out to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I was not meant to be a teacher or a nurse or a doctor. I am good. Like, that's not for me. And that's okay, because we need those still in the world too, right? So yeah, like I was saying before, there's a lot of people that come into this from all different backgrounds. And like the more that, and I'm sure you can probably agree with this, but the more that you work with people, you realize we all work a different way as well. How I mentor one person might be different how I mentor the other person, not in the systems that we teach with inside of our business, because like every business has a system that they follow in order to make sure that the quality is there. Like McDonald's, they have a system how they make their burgers. Subway, they have a system how they make their sandwiches. So yeah, the systems that we teach inside of our business, they always stay the same. But the strategy for the person, depending on who you're working with, might differ, because somebody might not want to do social media, so they want to, pivot and do face-to-face. It might be the reverse. Some people, you have to kind of mentor them in a different way that their brain can like comprehend it. Like me, I need things spelt out, front, forwards, back, like I'm a visual person. I need to see a video. I need to watch it. Some people, you tell them at once and they go ahead and they run with it. And some people, like when somebody goes quiet, I know that there's just something going on in their life. If I notice that they've kind of pulled back a little bit and they're not really showing up to the calls, or their communication has kind of stopped with me, I never take like offense, like, oh, like they're upset with me. It's just like something's going on. You know what I mean? So when I'm hopping on calls with people within my organization, I never really exactly know where the call is going to go sometimes, because for example, yesterday, one of my girls just said that they needed to do a call with me, like out of the blue. And we sat and it was like I gave her a TED talk for like 2 hours, and she just sat there and listened. But that's what she needed. Like she was going through some really hard times in her life, and I didn't really know all of it. And so for her to open up, like sometimes we just need somebody to listen and to just provide a different point of view. And then that is what gets them back on track. Because I even, spoke to her and I was like, how to do the business. Like the system doesn't change, and the strategies that you're doing, they don't change. Sometimes it's just that belief in themselves, to get them up and moving. So yeah, it just kind of depends, I guess, on the person that you're bringing in. And some people, they just run with it. And yeah, there will be times where there's slower seasons within your business, but I think that that's actually where your mental toughness and your grit is actually built, and it really shows who's built for it. Like, yes, I've been doing this full time for 6 years, but do you think it's all been sunshine and rainbows and butterflies? Absolutely not. Like, there's definitely times in my journey where my back's up against the wall and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Everybody has quit on me. I'm not earning that good money. You go from earning X amount one month to completely different the next month, and it's a roller coaster, and it can be very hard. But I love this hard, and I will always choose this hard because of what it can give me. I know what it can give, having that location freedom and that luxury of choice, and being able to, go and see my nieces if they need me, or if my mom calls me and she needs me, I'm there, and that's what I cherish so much about our industry and what it can give. So during those slower seasons, it's just being able to portray that message to the people that you're working alongside. And if they've been in it that long, they probably already know and understand that as well. And it's like, what, we just got to figure this out. But it's necessary to go through those low moments, because you're going to mentor people who are also going to go through those low moments. So if you can speak from experience and help them through that, then, you know, you're all going to be able to make it out of that rut. Like, I'm always in the trenches working with my team, again, leading by example. I never tell people what to do. I'm walking with them and showing them how to do it, you know, and I'm learning from them too, you know, even if they just came in 2 days ago or a year ago, I can still learn from you. Right. So
Yeah, it's so
yeah,
true.
that's my
I met with it's, I mean, what you're saying aligns with my business. I think probably lots of businesses in general. Like, I met with a new psychologist yesterday, and we were having that discussion, and she was like, well, tell me what you do and tell me how do you run your business? And I said kind of the same thing to her. I said, well, I've been doing this for 25 years. So this is what it looks like. I'm like, do you think that that's what you want to do? Or would you rather work for a company where it's a steady paycheck, you have your same hours? Because it's not what I have. Like, I don't have a steady paycheck and same hours. And as you know, right, it's how and she, after our talk, she was like, I think I just want to stick with my paycheck for a while. I'm like, yeah, then do that for a while. Like, there's no pressure. Like, she was just picking my brain about thinking should move to private practice. And I was like, absolutely. I love private practice, but here's what it looks like. And she was like, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm like, okay. Wants to have kids and mat leave. I'm like, yeah, there's no mat leave in private practice. So consider those things first. But I also think you said, when you do those things, there's the grit. Like, I think of, like, right now we're going into fall, my leaves outside, you know, and the trees are all falling off. Those trees have grit. They're not freaking out because the leaves are falling off. They're like, let's get steady. Let's get ready for the cold. It's going to get dark. The dark needs the light. It's how we go inside and regroup. And in business, we're always pivoting. We're always using, you know, the economy pivots, people pivot, people change. So I've been pivoting, like, you know, serpentine for 25 years in business, being like, okay, well, I didn't know what Zoom was, you know, 3 years ago. I didn't do a Zoom. I've never done a Zoom in my life. When someone said I had to do, you know, online counting, I was like, never. Right. Wow, people love it. And I've got clients as far as India right now. It's amazing. I'm like, wow, I get to work with couples all over the world. This is really fantastic. So always thinking of, like, as times change, as you know, technology changes, how can I change with it and still stay in what matters to me and still stay in my passion, still stay in my skill set, but how can I grow and evolve with this? And
exactly.
I think it'd be one of those things. So yeah, so it's there's opportunities to grow your mindset, your business in so many different ways. If that's what you value and if that's where you want to be, then yeah, amazing.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, those align in so many different ways. Sweet. Okay, any final thoughts? Any other final things you want to leave our audience with as far as business and supporting and collaboration and teams? And
I think that if there's just something out there that you want to do, just go for it. And I know that that sounds so cliche, but like, some of the most cliche quotes hold the most truth. You're going to have so much fun along the way. You will meet the most incredible people along the way. Like, you know, like me and you probably would have never even, you know, had this talk had I not started 6 years ago. You know what I mean? So you just never know the people that you will meet along the way, and then also the lives that you can impact along your journey as well. And even if this isn't something that you want to do and you're not wanting to go for it, to just be kind and supportive towards other people that are putting themselves out there and stepping outside of their comfort zone, because it is hard and it is scary. So to just, like, send them a little message, or if you see them in person, say, like, hey, like, I see what you're doing, like, good job. You know, it's like those little things that, like, can just light you up. And I can even relate to that sometimes, just like we were saying earlier. You know, it's those little things that you don't think have that big impact, but they really do. So yeah, just to support one another along their journey, and just go after what you want. You know, this world is so big and we've only got one life. Time is so valuable. So spend it with the people that you love and doing the things that you love.
yeah, and taking chances.
Yeah.
What would you do in your life if you knew you couldn't fail?
Wow. I would continue doing what I'm doing because I love it so much. And I would show others and teach others to do the exact same. I would go out and just help as many people as I can, like, in every single country, like, whatever is needed done, I would be there and I would help. Yeah, that's a good question. What about you?
Yeah, I would speak out more for sure, use my voice more, this is my year of that. This is the year I started the podcast. And that was kind of my goal this year, because there's still a big part of me that's like, you know, again, I'm doing this for a long time. That's still a part of me that's like, who wants to hear what you have to say? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a shush part of me for sure. So I would speak my truth more, which I'm going to keep doing. And I would empower others to do the same. I would keep, and which I want to do, keep empowering others to, inside of every one of us, there's a light, there's a beauty, there's a gem. And so if we can just pause and lean back and see even those that are hurting and causing hurt, let's vote for let's vote with our voice and with our dollar and with our energy and with our behaviors, with our actions for what we really stand for, which is hopefully love and kindness and peace in this world. I don't choose boxes. I don't want to pick a side. Ever.
No,
I want to stand for love for all sides. And I want to be, which I know maybe sounds Pollyanna but it's just my truth. I don't want to live in boxes. I want to pick love and peace. And I think that everyone has it in their system. So if we can stand for that and emanate that, hopefully we'll attract that and we'll magnetize that for other people in our world.
Yeah. Always lead with love. I love that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Last question. Where are you heading now? What's your why and where are you heading in your future?
My why. I'll probably cry if I talk about it.
Oh.
My family means so much to me, but there's so many things that like I want to accomplish, like just getting myself more established as like a woman. I think just financial independence is so huge. I don't think a lot of people my age really consider that, but just especially with everything that's going on, like with the economy and whatnot, just to really like, I'm very grateful for this conversation and everything that you just mentioned, because it just causes me to reflect and look inward and be like, yeah, Britt, like you can do this, like people do want to hear the things that you have to say. And I think just leading more into that, I know that this kind of goes back to the question you just asked of being like, what could you do if you couldn't fail? There's more that I can do for sure, and the woman that I am going to become, like she deserves that. So it's like, I just got to put my foot down, go harder. Definitely just want to help and serve as many people as I can along my journey, help out my mom and my dad, give back to them because they give so much. That's where my voice starts to crack a little bit, but giving back to them for sure is like probably the biggest goal that I have. And I have my own ways that I want to do that. So I know that in time it will happen. I just have to stay focused and keep working at it.
Yeah. I heard someone say to me one time in business, grow your business and treat your business like it's your daughter's. And that for me shifted my whole mindset of like, right. Because I was going from like, it's okay, I'll do the things. Like I could tell you, I made 1,001 mistakes in my business for sure over the years. But when I heard that, I was like, right. If I was growing this for her, someone that I love immensely, how would I set things up? How would I organize it? It would be totally different. So that was a mindset shift of like, why wouldn't I do that for my business? Like, why would I treat mine like it's someone that I love? It's interesting to me.
I love that.
Yeah. And then the metaphor I had this week for, what would you do if you couldn't fail? So this week I was, long story, I have a new horse out here and she's a 4-year-old. So she's young and I don't know her at all. I've ridden her like one time. And so she has an injury. And so my chiropractor said, oh, she's got really sore ribs. Don't put a saddle on her. So I took her to the arena and I was texting the guy I said, hey, do you ever ride her bareback? Like I'm just going to hop on her bareback if that's safe. And his text back was, never done it before. As I'm on her already, he texts back and he's like, never done it before, but if you feel comfortable, feel free. And I was like, ugh. And I'm on her back and I'm like, shit. Okay. What would I do if I couldn't fail? I just was like in that mindset of like, well, because as soon as my heart started pounding, she turned back and looked at me and I was like, oh God, now she's looking at me now. So I was just like, when I said to her, hey sister, I know my heart's pounding. I'm going to take my jacket off and throw it. Cause now I'm sweaty. I took my whole jacket off and threw it on the arena floor. Was like, okay, let's just ride like we can't fail. And I just like was talking to her like she was a human. I'm like, this is your first time. This is my first time, or this is going to be good. We're going to like hang out. We're going to do it really slow. Yeah. And it was this beautiful. Yeah. It was just really beautiful for both of us, for her and me to have it. I was like, okay, welcome to riding bareback. That's what I'm like, this is what it's going to feel like. And this is what it feels like for me. And it was this, what would you do? And if you ride like that in life, right, you're creating, it's manifesting, but you're creating the pathway in your life of like, what is failure? Like that, even that word, failure doesn't mean things don't go wrong. Failure is, right, I don't try in my mind.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And rejection is just redirection. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Courage. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep riding like I couldn't fail. And if I fall, in my head, so I literally was like, I'm going to go in the middle of the arena. And if I fall off, I'm going to find myself the place to fall. So in my head, I was like, okay, well, if I fall or if she bucks, whatever, I'm not going to go near the fence. I don't want to impale myself. So I'm going to stay in the middle of the arena where it's kind of safe. And I'm like, and we didn't. So I kind of just rode in that little space being like, we're good. We got this. Let's just see what we can do here. That's a good metaphor for life. Like ride like you can't fail. And man.
Yeah, exactly. You have that trust. My mom always says, lead with blind faith. She always says that, and it's just so true. Like you just have to do that. You just have to trust and just go with it and just believe and have that positivity and lead with that blind faith,
Yeah. It's not blind.
No.
No,
it's
I don't
really not. No.
I think it's blind to our human senses. It's blind to
Yes.
us. But if you think of the word faith, there's like such a divine essence pulling us in a direction that's so loving anyway, that there's like this essence of divinity that's like, I got you. If you just trust, if you just follow my lead, there's, we're being led on a path of divinity all the time. We're blind to it. But if we just
exactly. Exactly.
We're going to change that. Lead with humanist blind faith, but walk in your faith. Yeah, it's awesome.
Walk in your faith. Yes.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and all that you do. And you're inspiring. Like, you're inspiring for, all ages, like my age, people your age, all ages. And, I think the business world is an evolving, changing place, but actually, if you boil it down, it's always been, and I'm hoping stays rooted in relationship. And if we keep doing that well and keep honoring each other in all of our spaces, there's room for us all to flourish and grow. There's no competition in a healthy way. Like, hey, what'd you do this week? Like, I'm going to push you to be your best self. That's competition. I'm going to push you to try harder. I'm going to push you to do, to have courage to try things you're a little bit afraid of. That's how the competition, not I'm going to push you down to get ahead.
Exactly. No, thank you so much for this conversation. I've learned so much through it as well. Super grateful and honored for the opportunities. So thank you so much.
I'm going to keep watching you and seeing what you're doing in the future.
You too.
Thanks so much for joining us.
We're really glad you're here with us on this journey.
The best way to support this podcast is to subscribe and give it a 5-star review.
See you next time.
This has been a Bread Dog Studios production.